Hello, everyone. This is Dana from DefDevice. A new episode of my podcast is coming up with Mr. Ahmad Elsaadi. Welcome to the podcast, Ahmad.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, it's you showed up on time. To me, that's always like, wow, you came to the right place on the right time. And I saw what you're doing with your company, Ozarke, and all this incredibly designed furniture stuff and globally supplying these products around the world. I was very impressed with the quality and the level of accomplishment you have reached with this company. And I was curious to hear the backstory of the guy who is behind all this. So tell us a bit about your company right now, what you're doing there, and what's happening in your business.
Yeah, sure. So I started Ozarke in 2020, actually during COVID. So
Oh,
yep, at
that
that
is not so
time,
long ago.
yeah, it's just been a few years, just a few years. I started during COVID. I was working at a multinational oil and gas company called Schlumberger. Now it's called SLB. I've worked there for 11 years, and I loved working at that company. During COVID, just had, we're working from home. I had a lot of time on my hand. So I was like, you know what, let me see what else I can do on this side. I like to be challenged a little bit. And at that time, e-commerce was kind of starting to pick up a little bit because of COVID. But I read an article online that says online sales or e-commerce in general only accounts for about 14 or 15% of total sales, which kind of made me think there's a huge opportunity there. But I didn't know exactly, what am I going to do with e-commerce, or what products I want to sell, or how, everything works. So I reached out to a cousin of mine who's very tech savvy. Okay. And I explained to him, this is what I'm trying to do. Can you just, lead me in the right direction? So he definitely helped jumpstart the business, provided me with some helpful information about how to get started in Amazon, Etsy, and all that stuff. And then from there, it's just, I started experimenting multiple different products and just landed on the home goods or home decor business, which I thought was very, very interesting. And I didn't know how much, how much people love lights. It just came to me as a surprise.
Yeah, light is good. I mean, look at the difference here. I mean, it's good to have light. Yeah.
For sure. So I didn't know how much people love lights and how big of a business it is. So I started with, I've tested around, I think, 20 products first before I landed on the first successful product, which is still, by the way, it's still on the website. It's still one of the highest selling products we have. But yeah, it took a lot of experimenting, a lot of research, a lot of effort. And, now we're 3 years later, and then we have a small size company. We've got about 15 employees today, and we've set up a large warehouse here in Houston. And now we supply, all the orders throughout the U.S. from our Houston warehouse.
That's amazing. So you really did the testing approach. So it was not like I want to sell lights or home decor. It was more like testing different things and checking out what works. Yeah.
Yes. So I was looking for a business to start as a hobby, but I also did not want to invest a lot of money into it, just because at that time I had just gotten married, moved into a new house, new furniture. I also during the time where I was starting working in Ozarke, my wife got pregnant also. So we have a little boy. He's about 16 months now. Yeah. So during that time, I was testing products randomly here and there. But when I first started the business, my only investment was $300.
Wow.
Yep.
Look at you.
I put
You
in
started
$300.
with $300.
Yeah, I put in $300. I mean, later on, when I figured this can be a real business, I ended up putting more money out of my pocket, of course. But to get started, to the level where it kind of proved the concept that it can be successful, I had invested only $300, purchased a couple of different products, shipped them out to customers, constantly followed up for feedback and reviews. That was very, very important on the beginning. Every single customer that purchased from me, I called them, asked them feedback, What are some of the things we can improve about the product? Can you leave us, a review if we give you some money back? Those kind of things. It was a hobby at the beginning. And then in 2021, my wife got pregnant with our son. His name is Ali. And this is when things started to change a little bit. I started to kind of understand the business more. At the beginning, it was just a hobby, just selling, a couple of lights a month here and there, making a little extra cash on the side to spend it, randomly. But then I sat down, I said, okay, what if I did focus on this full time? What would that generate? So I start spending weekends just to work on this. So I would spend Saturday, Sunday from 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. like a regular job. I tried to see what can I do to build the business, how to expand it. And I realized, wow, when I did spend that time, business started to pick up. So I realized that the only thing I'm really missing here is putting my effort into it and see what that turns into. And luckily, my son was born in February 2022. I took 1 month paternity leave from my corporate job.
Oh.
Yep. So that was the key to starting this whole operation, because that 1 month when my son was sleeping and I was not, helping my wife, care for him, I was working throughout the day, focusing only on that part of the business, just Ozarke. And here we are today.
So your business and your son were born at the same time, basically.
Yeah. So we actually do have a saying in Arabic that when you get blessed with kids, usually like there's also wealth that comes along with it. That kind of saying,
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yes.
So kids come with wealth attached to them. Huh.
For sure.
Okay, that's new.
Yeah, it is. It is I didn't know about it either, but my wife and my father both told me that. He said, you got a son, something's gonna come with it at the same time, and for some reason this worked out.
It worked in your case, man. I mean, there's proof. There's proof for this saying. You have all the proof we need to see. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
What was your first platform you started selling on? Because you said you reached out to your customers. It cannot be Amazon because Amazon don't give you any leads.
No. It was Etsy. So Etsy is very.
Oh, and Etsy.
Yes.
Oh, you started on Etsy.
Yes.
Okay.
Started on Etsy. It's very customers are very engaged on Etsy. They ask 50 questions before they buy a product. And,
wow.
Yeah. And so I had the Etsy app on my phone. Anytime I get a customer message, I would respond right away. I don't think I've ever responded to a customer at Etsy longer than 2 hours. So that's how I started in Etsy. Slowly start adding more products, and then at the beginning just kind of testing within the lights category. But then I realized that the home goods industry really needs a new brand that focuses mainly on minimalist and modern designs, and that's, if you see throughout our website, everything is minimal, but the design just looks sleek and modern,
Yeah. It just immediately struck my eye that this is something like high-end, modern, minimalist design. Yeah, and I love this kind of design. I mean, I love minimalistic stuff where it's just like focuses on the minimum that needs to be there to function. Yeah.
For sure, yes. So there's a lot of opportunity in that space, and that's why we're positioning ourselves, and we're trying to grow as fast as possible to position ourselves in that category, minimalist modern designs. When you think of that, we want you to think of Ozarke.
How did you come up with the name?
I wish I had a good story about the name, but at that time I was trying to. So I started on Etsy. Let me just backtrack a little bit how we got to Ozarke. Started on Etsy. Obviously, I started with a different name. It wasn't Ozarke. Started on Etsy, expanded to Amazon and Wayfair as well. And then at that time, Etsy had shut down our store because they don't consider some of the items that we make as handmade, because they focus on the handmade vintage category. So they shut down the store in August of that year. And I realized, okay, so why am I still on Etsy in the first place? Yes, it was good for getting customers, but at the same time, I think we should build a brand. And I wanted to create a website. I want it to be one word, .com, not .net, .co, or whatever. It has to be one word, .com, so that way it can it can be memorized easily.
Yeah.
So you just kept searching names, and all the names I wanted are websites that cost $20,000, $30,000. I wasn't gonna spend money starting a company.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was watching the show Ozark. Have you heard the show Ozark on Netflix?
No.
Yeah. It's a very popular show here in the U.S. I was watching the last season of it, and I was like, you know what, Ozark sounds really good because it's a good, very popular. It's a small word, very popular. What if I added something to it and see what happens? So originally, what I did, I added the Y, so Ozarke with the Y, and that domain name was available. But I had a vision for the logo, how I wanted it to look, and the Y does not fit with the way I wanted it to look. So I was like, you know what? Let me test an E. I put an E, Ozarke with an E, and I was like, it's available. I bought it right in the spot. That was it. And that was the birth of Ozarke.
Oh wow, that is amazing. So how you got to your brand name is by just fitting it into the vision of your logo and watching Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah. It can be very inspiring, obviously. So guys, if you need a brand name, go watch some Netflix shows and maybe there's something there. Yeah, I mean, but I can completely relate to that. I was in a similar position when I was figuring out my brand name back in the days on Amazon. I wanted to sell like luxury goods in the Apple accessory area, and I played around with the word luxurious accessories actually. So I had this very long word, luxurious accessories, which is obviously not a good brand name. But then I started removing letters until I ended up with LXory. So it was just lxory.com, and that was available. So that's So it was a bit of a similar process how I came about my brand name. But
I mean, it's really literally just about finding what should the brand name be, and for me, Ozarke, I just wanted one word. It has to be a specific kind of text to fit the logo design that I wanted, and it just worked out. So
that's fantastic. And and sometimes just adding and remove or deleting letters can fix the not available problem on as a domain name. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's a really cool story. And I mean, you moved so fast, and you went just from let's try something to having like a really solid brand like a few years later. I think that is an amazing accomplishment with the side, especially since it was just a side hustle or a hobby at the beginning. And now you're doing this full time. Now you have a team, you have warehouses around the world. So I think that's like lightning speed for an e-commerce store. That's I mean, I really appreciate that, and I have a lot of respect for people who make this happen, especially as a young father. Some more, I mean, taking care of a child, I guess, also comes with some commitment and time. So let's do the little time travel thing. Let's go back to young Ahmad and see, what was his life like? Where was he living? Were you born in the US actually?
No, actually, I'll walk you through a very long childhood. But my parents, born in Lebanon, they were from a Palestinian background. So they were born and grew up in a refugee camp in Lebanon.
Wow.
And then ever since they finished, I come from a very big family. So my grandparents from my dad's side, they had 13 kids total.
Oh.
When you're sitting around in a refugee camp, it's a little bit boring, so no TV at the time.
Yeah, what do you do with your time? Yeah, let's make another child.
But they definitely blessed us with a very large family, and they're all close to each other. So all my uncles are very close to each other. And then we've seen that in the next generation. Me and my cousins are very close to each other as well. They started to travel after high school, college. Some of my uncles got scholarship to move to Europe. Some of them moved to the US, and my dad ended up in Dubai. So I was born in Dubai. I lived there till I was 7. And then my parents got divorced and we were relocated to Lebanon. So I grew up with my grandparents, actually, my grandma and my grandfather, who both have passed away in the last couple of years. So I grew up with them. And from a young age, I've always enjoyed problem solving. Math was my favorite topic. A funny story about that is that when I was in the 3rd grade, the math teacher who was teaching third grade and fourth grade. He was teaching the fourth grade class at that time, trying to teach them a concept. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he told them, I bet you I can get you someone from third grade who can do this better than you guys. And he brought me from third grade to the fourth grade class in front of them.
Wow.
And told me, hey, answer this question. I answered it in the spot. And it was just a cool experience to have at a young age.
So you were a very smart kid.
Smart, but did not enjoy studying.
Oh.
You know? What I was more interested in when I was younger, so me and my sister, so I have an older sister, she's 2 years older. She was in class above me, like higher than me. So I was in fourth grade, she was in fifth grade at that time. And what I did enjoy, because my grandparents did not allow me to go out and play in the streets with the other kids, you know, just because they don't want us to be exposed to bad behavior, all that stuff. So I spent a lot of time at home outside of school. And during this time, I found myself bored a lot, and I enjoyed, you know, certain topics. So I would read my sister's book, which is my next year in class.
Oh,
I would
you
read
got the preview.
I would just read just because I'm bored, but only specific topics, like the things that were interesting to me, geography, history, math. So those kind of things, I would just read them, and then I would go to class the next year, to a fifth grade class, and like find all these topics very, very easy. I read them already.
Yeah, done that, been there.
Yes.
And then in fifth grade, you would get another preview from your sister. So you kept getting the next year's
Yes. And I'm sorry to say this, but at one point, my sister failed the class.
Oh.
She's gonna kill me when she sees this. She failed the class, and I got pissed off at her. I was like, "Hey, I don't have the reading material for next year. Why'd you do that?" But yeah, that describes kind of my childhood in Lebanon. So I stayed in Lebanon until age 17. But throughout this time, you know, I was promised that I'm going to be moving to the U.S. because most of my family, my uncles and cousins, lived in the U.S. in Houston, and we've applied for citizenship from like the early 90s, but it took about 10 years until I got the visa to move to the U.S. So I got the visa in the middle of my last year of high school, my senior year of high school, and I was like, you know what, that's it. I don't want to finish high school. Let's go to the U.S. So I left in the middle of high school, came to Houston, and English was a very new topic to me because I did not enjoy English in class when I was in the middle and high school. So
your first language was Arabic, or what?
Yes, Arabic was my first language. That's right. And so I started to carry a small notebook at that time. This is 2005, by the way. Smartphones was not a thing. You don't have notes on your iPhone. So I had a small book which I would write every single new word that I heard. I would write it, and I would write the meaning of it, and then just like, you know, ask questions all the time. So I think what helped me become better at English is that I was not embarrassed. I was just hungry, looking to learn. So I asked questions. Even sometimes can be a stranger. He would say like a new word to me, you know, I didn't hear before. I did not understand. I did not just nod my head and said yes, of course. You know, I asked the question like, hey, I'm new to English. What does this word mean? And they would explain it to me, and that's how I got to kind of learn the language.
Amazing.
Yep.
I mean, from the way you speak today, it's hard to believe that English is not your first language. So, I mean, neither is it to me, but you sound like a Native American to me. So,
thank you.
amazing.
I still do have a little bit of accent there, but you know, I'm proud of, you know, from where I came and the way I spoke English to today. It's a complete different person, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
So we moved to the U.S. and I started college right away. So I went to University of Houston here. And at that time, also, I worked full time. So I did a couple of different jobs throughout my college career just to be able to pay for college. So I started off working in my uncle's store. He had a clothing store. So I was in retail for a couple of years. And then I worked as an EMT, which is like on the ambulance. I heard at that time that it was a highly paid job for, my age. So like you get paid $14.50 an hour, and minimum wage at that time was like $6.25 or $6.50.
Oh.
And because of my school schedule was very jam packed, so I was in school from Monday through Thursday. So I had to find a job that's at night, and this came up to work as an EMT in healthcare. And at that time, when I joined college, I had interest in going to medical school. Dropped out after working in healthcare. I was like, this is not for me. I hate biology. I hate everything in the healthcare field. So I'm not going to be happy working there. Shifted my focus to business school. So I would go to class from Monday through Friday, and then I would work 12-hour shift at night, come back to class and do this. So
Wow.
I did
12-hour shift at night. When did you sleep, man?
Sometimes you get to sleep on the job when things are not, very busy at night. It's allowed in that kind of field, So in the ambulance station, they have beds, so you sleep. You get a call at night, you jump right in the ambulance, you go do the call, come back. So I did that, and sometimes I would skip my morning class just so I can have a 2-hour nap in the car in the parking lot. So I did that. Graduated college with a business degree in supply chain management. And then I got recruited by Schlumberger at that time, 2 months before I graduated. And I've heard really good things about the company. And I joined in the supply chain department. And that has been probably one of the best decisions in my life. And because, so I have a lot of respect for a company like Schlumberger. They have 110,000 employees. But their model of bringing fresh graduates from college and throwing them into crazy scenarios where you have to kind of, if you're smart and you're a problem solver, like you would survive and you would excel in a company like that, So they did not hesitate from giving you a lot of responsibilities at an early age. So I was 24 at that time, and I started working on projects that are $5 million, $10 million, $15 million, So I excelled in a couple of roles in Houston, and then an opportunity came up to move to Saudi Arabia and work with Saudi Aramco there for Schlumberger. And I did not hesitate. I thought this was a great opportunity. It's a higher salary. All the bills are paid for. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go do it and try to save as much money as possible. So I ended up I was supposed to spend 2 years in Saudi. I spent 5 years. At that time, yes, because it was just a very. Actually, the reason I stayed longer is because I had met my wife in 6 months after I moved to Saudi. I met her in one of my trips back to Houston. So I was visiting Houston. We met up, and then we kind of start talking, and that kind of made it easier, because in Saudi, really, there's not much of a social life, like at that time. Right now, it's much better, definitely. But at that time, mixing men and women was not really a thing. Have different sections at restaurants, so there's no way you can find a lady in Saudi. But now they've opened.
So how do Saudis find a life partner then? I mean, is it all? I don't know. Is it online, or is it families to do the matchmaking, or how does it happen?
Yes. So back in the day, it used to be a lot of matchmaking. The mother would go to, let's say she has a potential candidate. She would go have a conversation with her, and then come back to her son and tell her, okay, yes, that's the one for you. And actually, in some cases, you don't meet her until when you're ready to go propose, pretty much.
Oh yeah,
it has changed a lot since then. It has changed a lot since then. Now it's a lot more open. They've got I think MBS, who is in charge of the kingdom now. He has spent a lot of money opening up the economy, and they've done a great job in Saudi by having the right companies come in, open up shops, shopping centers, restaurants, and they're expanding. And I've seen it. I moved in 2016 to Saudi, and I left in 2020. During that time, I've seen a huge transition from what happened, how it was when I got there until I left. It was a completely different country.
Oh wow. That's an interesting topic on itself. Yeah. So now
Yeah.
you get to see women's faces and all. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, even when I got there, you could still see them, but they would have to wear kind of they call it abaya, which is like a a thing to cover yourself. That was removed a couple of years ago. Now it's very casual. People just wearing normal clothes, and the culture has changed a lot. And you can
Oh,
see
wow.
the new generation there is more kind of open with kind of like. They have ideas of Western society, but also at the same time they still have a little bit of the Middle Eastern, flavor.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it's an interesting melting pot of different cultures and yeah, yeah.
for sure.
So you
So
got to witness all that, and then you started, and then you said you stayed there for 5 years in Dubai, and you met your wife back in Houston.
I stayed 5 years in Saudi, not Dubai.
Yeah,
So I stayed there.
yeah, Saudi. Yeah.
Yes, so I stayed there 5 years in Saudi, and then I met my wife in one of those trips. That's when I kind of started to plan my move out of Saudi, move back to Houston. I was working in Saudi is very good because the salaries for expats it's huge. Like you're making a lot of money there, and I was not spending any of it just because I wanted to just save as much as possible because I've always wanted to have my own business one day. I just didn't know what that business would be. I just wanted to be in charge of my own career or path.
Yeah, yeah.
So the pandemic happened when I was in Saudi, and at that time I could not travel outside of Saudi for a 6 months period, which was very, very hard. And then after that I ended up just moving back to Houston. I've connected with some of the people in my company and just told them, hey, you know what, I'm ready to move back to Houston. So they found me a job here in Houston. And moved back here, settled down, and I started this very good job with the same company, Schlumberger. And that's when we got to the Ozarke part, which is, I was working at that
Yeah.
company full time. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying working there, and the experience was amazing and that's one of the reasons, by the way, I was able to make Ozarke successful, because throughout my career at SLB, I worked in different departments. So even though my background isn't supply chain, but I was put in finance, in operations, in sales. I worked in IT, so definitely helped open up my knowledge base, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
got to spend at least 2 or 3 years in each job. And during that time, I got to learn a specific function, and that kind of helped me. I'm actually, like, the way I'm operating at Ozarke is the same exact way that SLB was operating, which is crazy.
Really?
I've copied some of the concepts that they have in there, and it's working well. It's working well. These guys at SLB, like, they have the freedom to kind of create anything they want, or generate value however you see fit by implementing a project or be in charge of a project. You can actually create a project yourself, someone will approve it, and you'll go and just lead that project, and it becomes something meaningful for the company. So I excelled in my career there, and I kept moving up, and I was very highly paid at that company. It's just, it wasn't fulfilling. I was maybe giving it, I would say, 80% of my effort, but not 100%. It's just I don't know why, but I just could not give it all. This is when it led to being bored at home during the pandemic, starting to look at e-commerce, and then starting Ozarke. And then I said to myself, if I'm going to start Ozarke, I don't want to operate like a small business. I want to operate like a big business. What would a big company do if they had resources? I did not have resources, but what I did have is the networking opportunity with multiple different people to kind of drive either getting a loan, or getting the right people to come work for Ozarke, or connecting with designers, or connecting with marketing agencies that are doing better. So every step of the process, I always had to level up after like a couple of months. So the way we operated 6 months ago is not the same way we operate today, and we're constantly looking for new ways to improve things. If you look at, and I'm not afraid to test something. If it doesn't work, completely just scrap that, move into something new that's going to be more beneficial. And I think that mindset had helps us a lot at Ozarke to kind of continue to grow.
That's an amazing story, and it's. I really love your testing approach and how you have collected so much knowledge and put it all into this company, and it works. And you're still open to testing out the same way, like or similar, like you tested on Etsy. You're just checking different systems, different procedures, different products, and you have your own design team in house now.
No, I don't have a design team in-house. So our business model, it's a little bit unique because we don't have to spend too much money on designs and research and development. So I'm going to share this secret, but what we do exactly is that we look at what are available designs on the market, okay, and we look at them and we say, okay, so let's get a sample of this product. Let's see what it looks like, okay. Let's say, a product that sells for $8. Okay, let's say on Amazon it sells for $8, but it's very, very successful product. Now we say, okay, what can we add to it to make this product more attractive, doesn't feel cheap, has more functionality that would encourage more customers to go after the better version rather than the cheap version, which breaks in 2 months, That is our approach to everything. So we take existing designs and we completely change them into something much, much better by either improving the quality, improving the raw material, adding different functions, making it smart, app, you can enable it via app, or you can, sync it with your Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So those are some of the things we do, actually. I don't have an in-house design team, but that's going to be the next phase is that I'm running out of ideas that I find in the market. So I'm looking to hire a design team in the next 6 to 9 months.
Wow. So you go pick existing products, but I would call that design. I mean, it's improvement of the existing designs, but
reverse
so you don't start
engineering
from
in a
scratch.
way. Yeah, reverse engineering.
Yeah. So reverse and product improvement. So pick a product and you find the flaws, fix what is not working, and improve it to make it like a next level product.
Exactly.
But then you also need to identify the manufacturer of that product, right? I mean, you kind of or you just go and let's find on that your manufacturer like create the upgraded version of that product.
So I've got partnership with 3 core manufacturers in Asia. Those are the guys that produce anything I ask for. We kind of They were a small company when I first started, and as we grew, they grew with us. So they've seen that happen, and that's why we're one of their biggest clients today. And anything we ask for, they accommodate it, and they're very quick. So we've seen some successful.
That's another.
Successful
I think that's
relationship.
another.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that's a key to your success as well. Like your magic sauce that you have a team in Asia, which is quick to implement your ideas and provide these products at a high quality and a real decent price, I guess.
Yes.
I think I have a similar experience that this relationship with a manufacturer can be a core of a business actually, because they also do provide ideas. They also come up with new products, and they have all the experience, like what it's like to make this product and how it's so it can be a very fruitful cooperation when it's done well, and when we treat them right, and not just like some guy who will do something cheaper than the other guy.
100%. I think finding the right manufacturer and having someone there who like you can trust, that can change your business entirely. And like when we target a product and we say, okay, here's the new specs that we need, make it for us, and we end up releasing it to the market. But then later on we find out that okay, this is missing something, or customers are asking for certain things, and we're like, okay, you know what? Let's go back to the drawing board, redesign again, and then we introduce like the second version, third version, fourth version. It never stops. Never stops. We're always listening to all our customers. Anytime someone says something to us that hey, do you guys have this added, or can you change this? We take that as an opportunity for us. We add it on our board. It's going to be the next thing we target.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that's another piece of the magic sauce that you have in your company, to really listen to customers. And I think that's also quite rare. I mean, most people just go with what's in their head, and then they complain when people don't buy. But to listen is an essential quality, I think, for any business leader. Yeah.
For sure. You focus on the customer, and if the customer is happy, everything else works itself out. It's that simple. And that's why a lot of companies, especially like startups, they see like, okay, wow, this is going to cost me a lot of money. I don't have the money for it. But in our scenario, in our case, we put money should not be the thing that stops us from continuously improving. Let's improve. I'll figure out the money later.
Yeah. Cool. And how you go about marketing? I mean, I see you're selling on your own platform, your own e-com store. I mean, how do you get people to see your store?
Yeah, so we do spend a lot of money on marketing. That's one of the key things in e-commerce. You've gotta place yourself in front of the right customer, and we spend a lot of money on marketing, developing material. We have a studio inside our warehouse where we shoot all our products. And then now, actually, we just signed contracts with 2 companies. I'm excited about what's going to happen in the next 3 months. So I'm hoping that in 3 months, you take a look at our website, our marketing material, like, wow, they made this happen in 3 months. But we partner up with 2 different companies. One of them is going to generate for us, how some websites or like big companies like Walmart or Saks, they allow customers to you click on the product, you can rotate it 3D, see all aspects of it. It's not visible on our website yet, but next month in July, that's when we start launching those kind of videos. So customer can interact with the product. Let's say if they want to see it in different colors, they can click to see what the color looks like, to see the light emitting light color, to change it to see how that looks. So that way, when customers buy from us, they're confident they're getting the product that they actually need.
Okay.
So we signed that contract with this big company in Washington D.C. and we're about to get ready to start next month publishing this content, and I'm extremely excited about that. So I always have to level up. That's the term I use, and I tell this to all the guys in my team. The way we operated 6 months ago is not the same way we operate today. So you need to be able to adapt to the new way, which means that, okay, now we're getting to be a bigger company. So the way you were operating before is not gonna be enough anymore, So you have to continue to grow your skills and career as the company grows as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. That was so insightful. I'm amazed by all the things that you have done and accomplished and figured out and learned and applied, and how you still keep on listening and testing and improving all the time. I think that's a very inspiring business leader you are.
Thank you.
I would just, to conclude our session, just share with the audience what would be your biggest challenge, and maybe connected to that, the biggest, the most important thing an entrepreneur should do today to succeed.
So the biggest thing is, honestly, is just finding the right people. As an entrepreneur, when you first starting a company, you're wearing multiple different hats, and as the company grows, there's no way you can do it alone. You're going to be stretched, right? And I think that's what a lot of people here in the U.S. They have a misconception about the work-life culture. Like work-life balance. They want to have a great work-life balance, but at the same time, they want to continuously excel in their career, get the promotions, get more money. But it does not come by having a work-life balance. To be honest with you, that mindset is. As much as, yes, you should have work-life balance, but you have to put in the work early in your career. My goal is to retire at 45. That's my goal. Okay. Now, but until then, I'm going to work myself to death until I get there, and then relax for the rest of my life. So the misconception about employees is that they want to be promoted, they want to get paid more, but at the same time they're not willing to put in the effort to stand out, to be able to justify those kind of things. And an advice I tell everybody is that if you think you're the business owner or the boss or the manager or the leader, whatever you want to call it, if you think that person is a reasonable person, you put in the effort, you're going to stand out. Eventually he's going to have to pay you what you deserve. It does not come just by showing up, doing the bare minimum, and expecting a raise every 6 months or every year. You know, it doesn't work that way. And I've seen this a lot. And I don't shy from firing and laying off people if it's not, you know, if it's not the right person, or he's not putting, you know, enough effort to make this company successful. We're a small business, so each person has to pretty much put in as much effort as possible to help the company grow. And when the company grows, the company is going to take care of all the people who were there from day one, you know? So that's one of the biggest complications I have today, is finding the right people who are going to come in, put in their heart and soul into the business. Nobody's going to do it the same way I do it, but if
of course.
if you can do 80%, I think that's definitely good. And that can definitely take the company to the next level. And at that point, the company will be able to provide you all these extra stuff, healthcare, 401k, you know, more money. And it becomes more of a partnership between employee and employer, rather than just, I'm just going to go in, do my work, and leave, you know? And I've gotten lucky at this company. You know, I've hired the right people. Everybody here, you know, they enjoy working here. It is a stressful environment today because we just can't keep up with growth. You know, we continue to grow. It's very hard to keep up. But I've got the right team around me. I'm very happy that I have every single person in the team, and they all you know, contributed in their own way. And it's been a blessing to have the right team in this company.
Well, that sounds very good and very insightful. Thank you so much, and congratulations to being such a great leader with so much success, doing beautiful stuff, selling inspiring products that bring much joy to your customers, I'm sure. And you are just in the middle of it, so there's much more to come, and I'm really looking forward to see, you know, what Ozarke is going to be in 1 year from now or so. I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
I'm excited to see it as well.
Yeah. I will keep watching, man. So
you know, actually, just one last statement.
Yeah, sure.
People always focus on the end results. Meaning that, like, okay, like this is the goal I set. I want to get there. I want to get there so fast. I want to accomplish it. But they forget that the joy is truly in the process. And right now, it's the happiest
100%.
I've ever been. Yeah, it's the happiest I've ever been. It's just like, it's challenging, a lot of stuff to fix, a lot of issues here and there that comes with you know, a growing business. But I can tell you, I wake up every day with a smile to come to work and do this every single day, just because I'm enjoying the process of building something, you know?
Oh man, that is really precious what you're saying right there. Yeah. And I think this is also a key to our success in any way, is how we feel about it. So if we are in a ditch and just, you know, wait for good things to happen until we feel better, I think that this ditch can last very long. So,
absolutely.
and you're feeling great about what you're doing, and I think that is the best proof of concept. If you really feel good about what you're doing, and all the goals, they will come later. But yeah, enjoy the process and engage in the process, and yeah, don't wait for things to happen before you feel good. Yep. Fantastic. It's getting better. Dude, do you have any more of this to share? Because, I mean, it's getting better all the time.
I mean,
every time you come up with a new insight, it's like, whoa.
I mean, this all came by on the job, to be honest with you. You know, I was very impatient at the beginning. And I'm just like, I want to hit specific metrics. I want to get there. I want to get there fast, you know. But then when I realized, like, okay, I got there, but you know, the enjoyment wasn't really in actually getting there. You know, it was in the process of getting there. And, you know, this is my first time owning a business myself. And I'm learning on the job. You know, I'm not nowhere near an expert in being a CEO. But, you know, I have one of the qualities, which is I learn and I see things happen in front of me. I see other people, how they do it. I engage with different, you know, leaders as well to kind of learn from them, and having the right mentor always makes a big difference. You know, you got to have someone who's going to help you excel, and you know, you don't know everything. You're never going to know everything, but if you have the right people around you that can guide you, and if you're a good listener, I think you can definitely make some things happen.
Yeah, that's another big one. Yeah, to have a mentor, which also comes into this bucket of finding the right people. So the right people to work with, the right clients, maybe the right manufacturer, the right mentor. So yeah, a lot of entrepreneurship is about people. I completely agree.
For sure, yes, definitely.
Okay, man, we're hitting 45 minutes here. So whoever's still listening, I appreciate you and I thank you. But I think you also got a lot of insights here from Mr. Ahmad and his business strategies. I want to thank you so much for being here. I would invite you to share whatever contact information you want me to put into the description. I will do that, and yeah, we take it from here and we stay in touch. Ahmad, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. No, thank you for having me. This was a pleasure, speaking with you and sharing, these kind of knowledge. I hope, I hope for the next generation in the U.S. to be more, or not to be more, to be better than this generation. And they are, absolutely, they are. And I think, as our job of the not previous generation, but the, passing the knowledge to the next generation is very, very important to make sure they succeed and then they, they make us proud. So I'm happy, to share my contact info if anybody needs advice, to business, or if they need help getting started, I'll be happy to share.
Cool. Appreciate that, man.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Ahmad.
much.
Stay in
Thank you.
touch.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.